Welcome everyone. Today we will learn conditional function in Excel. As we can see that a conditional function performs an action or calculation based on a test of data using an if function. A conditional function provides a true false result to highlight or filter out data based on specific criteria. Conditional functions can be used with any data type. That means it can be number, it can be text or anything else. So conditional function, as the name suggests, there will be a condition and this function will work on that condition. So if we consider the syntax of if function is really a conditional function in Excel, and this is extensively used whenever we have some conditions to use in Excel. We always use if function. So as we can see, within if we have logical test and value if true, value if false. Then we have to close the bracket as well. So in this place where logical test is written, a condition will be there which will be checked, and once the condition matches, then it will execute this part in which value if true is written. This part will be executed. If the condition doesn't match, it will execute the second part, that is value if false. So basically we can give a value, we can supply a value or a statement in case of if function. Whenever we are writing any complex formula or function and we need to write some statement on our own based on some conditions, then we definitely use if function. So this is the area where we can supply our statement as per our requirement. So if we consider the given example over here, first of all I will show how it works. In this place I am writing result, and in this place I am using if function. Now logical test, we have to supply a test, a logical test, that is I am writing number 1 is greater than number 2. So we have used the greater than sign. As you know, greater than, less than, equal to, all are logical operators. So we have used that logical operator over here to form a condition. The condition is that number 1 is greater than number 2. We are assuming for the time being that number 1 is greater. So if it really happens, then we can write it number 1 is greater. If it is not so, then we can write number 2 is greater. Now you have to close the bracket and hit the enter key. We can see it is showing number 2 is greater. So if we drag it down, we can get all the results. In every cases it is returning the right answer, as we have written if number 1 is greater than number 2, then only number 1 is greater. If it is not, then number 2 is greater. So in this place we can see it is 45 and it is 55. So number 1 is not greater than number 2. So it is not executing the first part, rather it is executing the second part, because the condition doesn't match in this case. But in this case, number 1 is greater than number 2. As we can see, 35 is greater than 15. So the first part is being executed. So it is showing number 1 is greater. So in this way if function works. There are various operations that are there with if function. So I'm giving simple examples. I'm writing value, and now I'll be giving some values. Say it is 48, say it is 10, say it is 25. Now we are writing if function, and in place of logical test we are giving that this value is greater than number 1. If the value is greater than number 1, then we can write greater than number 1. If it is not so, then we will be writing greater than number 2. So now hitting the enter key, we can see it is showing greater than number 1. As we can see, 48 is greater than number 1, and if we drag it down, then we can see 15 is greater than number 1 also, and 25 is not greater than number 1, rather it is greater than number 2. So that's why it is showing greater than number 2. If we modify the numbers, then the result will also be changed. For example, we are giving it we are changing 55 into 40, and also changing this one to 38. We have to write more than this one. "48" being greater than number 1, it is showing like this. We have to increase the number, doing it, and in this place I am doing 42. As we can see, 48 is greater than number 2. One thing we realized, whenever we have some greater values like 85, still it is showing greater than number 2, but it is not so, because 48 is less than both the numbers, but still it is showing number 2 greater than number 2. Why is this so? Because whenever it is checking the logical test in that area, it is checking whether the value is greater than number 1, and in this case it is not so. So it is executing the second part. That's why it is showing the statement that we have supplied. So if we need to consider all the conditions that may appear, we have to make it a larger one. So what can it be? Let me show you. The first condition may be the number itself can be greater than both the numbers, or it can be less than both the numbers. Other one is it can be greater than any of the numbers. So these conditions are there. We have to consider all the conditions that we have. So we need to make it a larger one by considering all the conditions that we have. So first of all, we will assume that this value is greater than both the numbers. So we have to write like this: if this value is greater than number 1, if the value is greater than number 2, then the statement should be greater than both. Now we have to check whether they are less than both. For this we have to use if once again and change the operators to less than. If it is so, then less than both. Again we have to use if function. Now we are giving greater than D11, is less than E11, then greater than number 2, else greater than greater than number 1, else greater than number 2. Now we can see 48 is less than both the numbers. Why we have used AND, that we will learn later on. AND is logical operators, and whenever we have more than one conditions that are to be checked, then we use AND function. So if we are using multiple conditions, as you can see, F11 is greater than D11, F11 is greater than E11. So multiple conditions we are checking, that's why we have used AND. So let me drag it down. You can see 15 is greater than number 1, and in case of this one, 25 is greater than number 2. It is not greater than number 1. So now what we can do is we can change the number accordingly. For example, we are changing 85 to 35. As you can see, it is showing the correct result, greater than number 2. And if we let it be like this, and if we change that number to 42, now it is showing greater than number 1. As you can see, 48 is greater than number 2. Now I am explaining what happened. So first of all I have checked whether this value is greater than both the numbers. So I have used greater than sign in both the cases. Then I have checked if it is less than both the numbers. So we have to check this kind of conditions right at the beginning of the formula. Then I have checked that this value is greater than number 1 and less than number 2. If it is so, then it will show greater than number 1. If it is not so, then definitely it is greater than number 2. So that's all we have. And one more thing, we have used if in multiple places. We have used if more than once. This kind of uses of if is called nested if. I think it is quite clear. Now let it be number 3. We have 3 numbers. Now consider that this is subject 1. I am writing sub 1, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. So these are the subjects and these are the marks that has been acquired. I am increasing the numbers. Let it be 82, 15 it will be like 79. Now inserting a column. We assume that the total numbers of these subjects for each subject is 100. That means 3 subjects are there, so the total number is 300. Now we can easily find out the total of it by simply selecting them and pressing Alt equal to. As we can see, it has scored 175 out of 300. So this is the marks. Now if we want to apply some grades to it, so we can do so like this. Grades. I am writing over here I am taking another percentage. So to find out the percentage equal to the total number divided by 300. So this is the percentage. I am clicking on the percentage sign. As you can see, this is the percentage. Now I will find out the grades on these percentages. Let it be colored one so as to understand it well. It should be more clear to you. Great. So now I will apply nested if. What we have discussed, that if we have more than one if function, then we can call it nested if. So using if function multiple times, we can say nested if. So if this cell we have to write the criteria like this. If greater than 80% is there, then it is A plus. If it is greater than 70%, then it is A. If it is greater than 60%, then it is B. Then it is greater than 50%, then it is C. So 50% is the passing mark, assume it. So less than 50% will be considered as D, or I am writing it fail. So this thing I will apply in the grade section. So let's write the function formula. If this is greater than equal to 80%, then it will show A plus. Again, if is greater than equal to 70%, then it will be A. Again, if it is greater than equal to 60%, I think 60%, then it is B. Again, if function, if it is greater than equal to 50%, then it will be showing C. Else it will show fail. I am not writing the less than 50%, no need to write them, because exactly we have that place where we can write this. We have to close the bracket until it comes black. We can see that 4 brackets are there. That means undoubtedly we have used 4 ifs. As we can see, 1 2 3 4 ifs are there. That's why 4 brackets are there. Now we are closing it down and we are dragging it. As we can see, it has code C, it is B, and this is fail, because this is less than 50%. That's why it is fail. And this is over 60%. That's why it is B. And if you change the number, suppose you are increasing the number, as you can see the grades are changing. It has changed to A. If I change it to 90, you can see it is showing A plus. So now we have to understand the function. If we carefully see this, we can see that this is the place where logical test takes place. So this is logical test, and if we click on value if true, we can see this is value if true. If the condition matches, then this will return A plus. If it doesn't match, we are clicking on value if false, then it will go to that section. That means value if false, and exactly in that section we have used another if. So whenever first condition doesn't match, it will go to the second section, and after going to second section, it finds that another if is there, then it will continue the same thing. It will check once again. If the condition is true, it will execute this one. If it is not so, then it will execute next if. So in this way it is going one after another. So if somewhere this condition, the first condition matches, then it will execute A plus and discontinue executing the rest of the part. So this is the utility of using if function. As you can see, we have used if multiple times, and this kind of if, using if, is called nested if, and this is very much necessary. As we can see that we have applied it in grades, so we can easily find out the grades with the help of this if function. So whenever we have to check a condition where we have to put our own statement, then we definitely have to use if function. And obviously we have to remember the syntax of it, that is logical test. After it, if the condition matches, then we need to supply a statement as per our need, as per our requirement. If it is not so, then we can also write a statement. So this is conditional function in Excel. We can say it is a statement also, if statement. So this is because of that within if function we can put our own statement, but the thing is that it will be according to the condition given. If we take another example, so we are deleting it. Suppose I am writing a name or an address, and writing America, London, Paris. See a simple example. This is our address, and we can take it as result. So we can see, we can write like this: if this cell equal to America, then yes, no. As we can see, in the first cell it finds America, that's why it is returning the first statement, as you can see, value if true. And in this case, if we drag it down, it is returning no, because it is written London, it is not America. If we write America in this place, we can see no has turned into yes. That means wherever it will find that particular phrase what we have supplied within double inverted quote, it will check whether this value matches. So I am showing it because I showed the if function along with value. Now I am showing it that it works in case of text also. So in this case, it is checking that where the phrase matches, it exactly returning the first value, that is value if true. If it doesn't match, then it returns the second value. So that's all from if function. Thank you.